A gap year student by the name of Jack meets a girl named Evelyn, who changes his view on life. We see our protagonist at the beginning of the movie. He is talking to his friend, and they are gushing about going to America. Jack has his doubts though, so he asks Tom for other options, like Thailand. Tom tells him that they're going to have a lot of fun, and he isn't supposed to be second-guessing himself. Jack's mother comes in and tells the boys that the people have arrived and they should all go downstairs. They all go down, but Jack is stopped by his father. He makes sure that Jack looks presentable and tells him that people don't get the opportunities he has, so he should do everything to make it work. Jack goes out to the door and greets Mr. Walker and his wife. Mr. Walker, who congratulates him on getting into Bristol. Jack tells them that he will be reading history. His father jumps in and says that Jack will be reading law conversions after history so that Mr. Walker can get him an internship in his firm. Jack tries to tell that he isn't interested in the job, but his father intervenes again and tells him not to be so modest. Jack is asked about the gap year he's going to be taking, and Jack says that he hopes for that to be a gap life. Everyone looks at him with weird looks, but Jack doesn't care. The next day, we see Tom and Jack working as they're trying to get people to sign up for their donations. Jack is very successful at convincing the grandma, but Tom has no luck at all. While they're joking about it, a girl walks past them. Once Jack notices her, he tells Tom she walks past them, and Tom tells him that he has to talk to her. Jack says that he can't, but Tom drags him to where the girl's going. She goes into a shop and they wait for her to come out. She comes out and lights a cigarette. Jack isn't sure about talking to her, but approaches her once she starts walking away. He is really awkward with her and he doesn't really know what to say. She asks him whether he is going to talk about how bad cigarettes are for her since she is smoking one. He tells her that's not a part of the speech but agrees that they're bad. Tom notices that the conversation isn't going anywhere, so he jumps into the conversation. He asks the girl for her name, and she says that it's Evelyn. Tom introduces himself to her and asks whether she'll be going to join their organization. She tells them no, so Jack asks her for a cup of coffee instead. She tells him that she is meeting someone, but he is free to walk her to the corner of the street. They have a flirtatious conversation and Jack finds out that the girl is from Paris. She asks him what he does, and he tells her that he is doing charity and traveling with Tom. She says that she didn't mean it that way, and she wanted to ask what he liked doing. Jack gets nervous as he doesn't know what to answer. Evelyn laughs and tells him that he isn't good at small talk. Jack admits that he isn't, and she tells him that it's okay. They arrive at the end of the corner, and Evelyn says goodbye. But before she gets into the car, she invites Jack to come to a bar she often goes to. Evelyn leaves and Jack goes to Tom to tell him what she had told him. He tells Tom that he's going to meet her at a pub, and he jumps up and down and joy like a kid. The two friends go on a walk and fantasize about the different women they will see when they travel. They talk about Brazilian women and how great they are. Jack disagrees with Tom and asks him to name one thing special about them. He is not saying that they're bad, but there are beautiful women in the UK. Tom tells Jack that he might get it on with Gizzy before they go traveling, so he can practice. Jack tells him not to do it because she has been very mean to him. Tom argues that he should go to the pub first, and then start giving him advice. He tells him that he doesn't have a chance with her, but Jack tells him that even though he knows he doesn't have a chance with her, he's still willing to try. Jack and Tom sit with some friends later on in the night, and amongst them happen to be Gizzy. Jack can't seem to handle her blabbing anymore, and motions to Jack that he will be leaving. They leave the group and go outside. Tom asks Jack not to leave, but he says that he can't bear it anymore. Tom asks him whether he'll go home, and Jack tells him that he will check out the pub. Tom tells him to stay again because he won't have luck with the girl, but Jack tells him that he's willing to try. Tom wishes him good luck, and Jack does as well as he leaves. He has a hard time finding the pub, but manages to after asking people for directions. He goes to the bar and tries to order a drink. While doing so, he spots Evelyn coming his way. He says hi to her and she invites him to the club as she's headed that way. Jack agrees, and they leave the pub. They get in through the back door, and Jack is surprised to see how full the club is. They go through a crowd of drunk people dancing to the rhythm, and get to the bar. A guy approaches them and greets Evelyn. He turns to Jack and introduces himself as Cassius. Moments later, Evelyn drags Jack to a booth. She sits down next to a guy and introduces him to Jack. His name is Milo, and he is Evelyn's boyfriend. They start kissing, and Jack leaves as he's feeling uncomfortable. He and Cassius have a chat before he introduces him to the sisters. He finds out that Jack works there. Evelyn comes to their table, and the sisters drag Jack to the dance floor. They end up dancing through the night, but Jack can't help it, as he eyes Milo and Evelyn the whole night. Jack has breakfast with his parents in the morning, and they ask him about his decision. He tells them that university is not for him, and he isn't so fond of working for Mr. Walker either. His parents laugh as they think he's joking. Jack goes for a walk to get away from his parents, but is met with Tom's problems about Gizzy. He goes to the pub and sees Cassius there. He asks him how his night went, and Cassius asks him whether he likes Evelyn. He tells him that he doesn't, but Cassius knows that he does. He tells him to stay away from her, because she's too much to handle. They change the subject and Cassius asks him about what he likes to do. Jack tells him that he likes photography, but doesn't have a film camera. After the chat in the pub, Cassius takes Jack to an unfamiliar house. They get in, and Cassius disappears. Jack walks around until he's met with one of the sisters. She tells him that her name is Viola, and that she's only called a sister in the presence of the other. Jack thanks them for welcoming him into the house, and they tell him that he's free to stay as long as he likes. They tell him that Evelyn is on the upper floor, and he goes to find her. He finds a room with a sign that says 7 minutes in heaven. He enters and sees Evelyn. She invites him to sit down and he does. He asks her whether all of them have a job, and Evelyn starts talking about everyone. But she gets interrupted by Jack asking about Milo. Evelyn doesn't want to answer that, so Jack asks her about her job. She tells him that she is a child of the darkness as she leaves. Jack finally finds Cassius and helps him choose his outfit. Cassius tells him that he had been with an artsy girl a couple of days ago, and she had forgotten her camera. He hands it to Jack. Jack gets more than excited as he realizes that the camera is the best film camera there is. He says that he will have to take some pictures, and Cassius offers to be his first one as he poses. The group plans on going to a party later on in the night, and they invite Jack to come as well. Jack can be seen getting drunk and dancing in the night, as sweaty bodies follow the rhythm around him. Evelyn comes later to the party, and she looks visibly upset. The sisters come to greet her and ask about Milo. She tells them that she doesn't know where he is, and they try to cheer her up by dancing with her. Jack spots her and gets closer to her. They dance and get closer and closer, but nothing comes of it. He sits down to gather himself, as he feels a little bit more than tipsy. The sisters come and sit next to him. He tells them that he needs to go home, but they say he can't because he will be breaking the only one rule of the party. When he comes to the Gabettis, he has to stay at the Gabettis until the end. He argues that he should be going home, and Violet tells him that he's already home. He tries to leave after some time, and as he does, he sees Cassius being intimate with 2 girls, which must have made him stay, because he is seen asleep on the couch the next morning. Evelyn wakes him up, and he says that he should go home immediately. She disagrees with him as she can't let him leave with an empty stomach. They end up going out for breakfast to get to know each other better. Jack asks Evelyn about the sister, and she tells him that she had moved a year ago to the house, so she knows them well. She tells him that they love him, and Jack says that they're sweet. Their conversation is interrupted as Milo walks into the cafe. He apologizes to Evelyn for being late, and she tells him that she had expected it. He orders coffee only, and asks Jack what he does. Jack tells him that he's going to Bristol next year, and he's working for charity. Milo spots the camera and asks him about it. He tells her that it's a gift from Cassius, and that he wants to take some proper photos with it. Evelyn leaves to smoke, and Milo says that she lives in her mind. Jack wishes to be like her sometime, and Milo tells him to keep his head and not get lost like her or anyone from her group. Jack takes some pictures around the city and heads home. He asks his mother whether her life had turned out the same as she hoped. She tells him that it hasn't, because life doesn't always play out the way we think it will, and that's what makes it fun. He asks her whether she's sure about it, and she says that she is because that's what life is. She tells him that she wanted to be a painter, and Nancy was going to be a fashion designer, so working would lead to them taking over the world. All of them came crashing down because she fell in love. As time passes, Jack gets closer to the group. Coffee dates, casual walks, picnics, and the usual parties make Jack feel like a part of the group. Jack goes for a walk with Evelyn, and they sit down as it starts raining. He asks her about what she wants to do in life. He says that Cassius had asked him the same question, and he didn't really have an answer. She tells him that life is too short to do something that you don't like, and that it takes a lot of bravery to have trust in yourself to do what you want to do. She doesn't want to end up like her parents, not being able to see her children, as they're at work all the time. Jack admits that being with them has made him worry less. He tells her that no one deserves happiness more than her, and she thanks him. Jack and Tom finish playing football the next morning, and Tom tries to have a conversation. He asks Jack about his job, and he says that he has decided to stop working. Tom goes on to ask him about the way he's going to pay for the trip they're planning to South America. Jack tells him that he doesn't want to go anymore. He says that it was a great plan, but he doesn't want to spend his hard-earned money that way. Tom asks him whether his decision has something to do with Evelyn, and he says no. Tom flips out on him and says that they have been friends for a long time, and he has been neglecting him for some time. He expects him to say that he won't be going to Bristol as well, and Jack stays silent. Jack tries to justify himself by saying that he's an adult, and he can make his own decision. Tom tries to leave, but Jack asks him to talk about it, to which Tom says that he has to go to work. Jack meets Milo after practice, and he asks him to run a quick errand with him. They go to a rather sketchy location, and Milo picks up some young boys. He drives the boys to a customer, and Jack can't seem to comprehend what Milo does. He asks Milo about it after he drops the boys, and Milo tells him that's the only way he can finance himself. Jack asks him to get a normal job, and he says that he could never, and drives off. They go to a day party, and Jack sits next to Evelyn once he spots her. She asks him about Milo, and he says that he doesn't know where he is. He tells her that she loves playing games with him, and she says if there was no game to be played they would have understood each other. He drags her to dance, and after dancing, the group ends up at a concert. When it's time to leave, Evelyn suggests taking a taxi, but Jack tells her to walk home. She tells him that it will take all night, but he says that he has time. The sun comes up, and we see Jack and Evelyn walking by the river. He asks her how she met the sisters, and she says that it's a rather funny story. She had been on a school trip as a student exchange. She had to go back to finish high school, but when she finished, she moved to the US. He asks her about her parents, and she says that she doesn't see them often, but they call her every Monday at 9:30. They still think that she's in college, and she doesn't want to tell them. They arrive home in the morning, and see Milo in the kitchen. He greets them by saying that they're his two favorite people. Evelyn asks him why he left the party later, and he says that he's glad she had fun with Jack. The sisters save the situation by walking into the house. Milo drags Evelyn to bed, and Jack is left alone in the kitchen. He heads home as well and falls asleep immediately. He is awoken by Tom and is bombarded with questions. Tom asks to introduce him to his new friends, and Jack doesn't say anything. This makes Tom furious, as he starts assuming that Jack's ashamed of him. Jack asks him to calm down, and asks why he's in his room. Tom tries to leave and Jack tells him that he always does the same. He leaves and avoids talking about the problem. Tom turns to him and says that he wanted to say the same. He says that Jack should be grateful, because someone had decided to check up on him. Jack says that he doesn't care if he parties all night, and whether he wakes up in the middle of the day or not. He tells him that he shouldn't bug him and he should stop being so needy. This pisses Tom off and he pushes Jack, which makes him fall onto the bed. Jack's parents come in at that moment and his mother asks him to have a chat. Jack rolls his eyes and says that they've all ganged up on him, and he couldn't wait for them to start bugging him. His father asks him why he's spending so much money lately. He reminds him that his internship is starting in the morning, and Jack starts being sarcastic about how he should be ironing his tie instead. His father says that he should be thankful for having a chance to work for Mr. Walker, and Jack tells him off. He grabs his backpack and leaves the house. He catches a metro and goes to the group's house. He arrives there and sees Evelyn having a fight with Milo. She ends up kicking him out of the house and even throwing a glass at his car. Jack gets closer to the house and says hello to everyone. They ask him about the backpack, and he replies that he has run away from home. They are surprised to hear that he has done that for the first time, and he asks them whether he can stay at their place. The group welcomes him with a smile, and Cassius gives him his room. Evelyn asks him whether they should do something, and Jack's surprised to find out that she wants to do something with him alone. The sisters suggest they go to the countryside as they have a house there. Evelyn agrees and goes to pack while Jack waits outside. Violet hands him the keys to the car, and he says that he can drive but he doesn't have a driver's license. Evelyn begs him to do it for her and Jack falls for her smile. They stop for a cigarette in the middle of their trip, and Evelyn thanks him for coming with her, and even calls him kind. They arrive at the house late at night and it's time for them to sleep. They are stuck between two rooms and decide to play rock, paper, scissors for it. Jack ends up getting the better room, and Evelyn accepts her defeat. Jack goes to fill up his tub for a nice evening. He expects to be alone, but Evelyn comes and hugs him from behind. He is surprised at her sudden action, and turns around only to have her arms wrapped around his neck. He gets closer to her and she leans in. Jack wakes up to an empty bed in the morning and wonders where Evelyn is. He finds her outside sitting on the swing. He goes to her and she tells him that he snores loudly. He apologizes and says that he had a fun night. He tries to have a small talk with her, but she stops him from talking and from rubbing her leg. Jack doesn't know how to react, and goes to make some tea for himself. He goes inside and tries to gather himself to be calm. He goes back outside and asks her how she's feeling. She tries to avoid the question about them by telling him not to start any games. Jack asks her what's wrong with her, and she matches his energy. He is pissed off and she tries to leave. He stops her and tells her to look him in the eye and have a conversation with her. She tells him not to think that highly of himself, and he gets more upset. He tells her that everything is a joke to her, and all she knows is how to play games. She plays a game with Milo. Milo plays a game with her, and he is getting played with as well. She says that Milo isn't playing a game with her, and Jack asks her whether she knows what Milo's job is. He tells her that it's sick, and that he can help her get away from all of the mess. She tells him that he isn't someone who gets to tell her what to do with her life. He tells her that he wants to help her, but she says that she understands him. He liked her. He wanted to be with her. He was with her and he won. Jack asks her whether sleeping with each other had meant something to her, and she says that it means that they will be a part of each other's history. He says that he doesn't want to be a part of history, he wants to be with her. She says that they barely know each other, and that he shouldn't try to make it something that it isn't. He should enjoy it as it is, at the moment, and let it be just a spark. Tears fill Jack's eyes as he leaves. Evelyn tries to stop him, but he tells her off. He walks out, and goes for a walk to calm himself down. He arrives back at the house and sees Violet at the window. He walks into the house and everyone is there for Violet's birthday party. Cassius walks out with Jack and asks him about the previous night. Jack says that nothing had happened, and Cassius realizes that he had slept with Evelyn. He tells him not to tell anyone, and Jack nods in agreement. More people come to the house, and all of them go to the field to celebrate Violet's birthday. They spend their day having fun in the field, and by the night they gather around a fire pit. The sisters suggest playing fire hockey, and Jack asks for instructions. After hearing them, he says that he will sit it out, but Mio comes and tries to embarrass him. It doesn't sit well with him, and he agrees to play. Jack's heart breaks when he sees Evelyn kissing Milo and being passionate, even after what they had. He sits around the fire with the sisters, and tries to forget about Evelyn. He isn't in luck as she comes to sit with them sometime later. The sisters sense the tension, and leave them to talk. Evelyn gets closer, and tries to talk about her and Milo. He cuts her off by saying that she doesn't have to explain herself, and that he understands. She asks her about the boy she first saw him with, and Jack doesn't know what to say as he's lost touch with Tom for a while. Evelyn tells him that he should call him, but Jack thinks that he wouldn't want to hear from him. He agrees to call him and thanks her for the advice. They go silent for a while, and Jack breaks it by asking Evelyn why she had been with him the night before. She gives him the only reason she can and says that it happened because she wanted to. Jack understands, and she says that he'll be alright, and he will be a great photographer one day. Things go well for Jack as we see him sometime later. We find out that he has talked to Tom as he's leaving him a voicemail, wishing him a safe flight. He is in good relationship with the group as well. We see him sending them all of the pictures they took when they were together. He puts the pictures in an envelope and writes "Kids in Love" on the back.